The EPA recently released its final water rule, claiming much greater power for the administration to oversee the land use decision of homeowners, small businesses, and family farms throughout our country. This mandate is full of problems, and the American people are being sold a false bill of goods. Just look at the potential impact to my home state of Arkansas. As you can see, the entire state will come under this jurisdiction. The red on this map, compiled by the Agriculture's Waters of the United States Mapping Initiative, highlights the extent to which this EPA rule would impact Arkansas. As you can see, the Obama administration wants to give bureaucrats in Washington control of almost all of the water in Arkansas. They're deceiving the American people in order to justify this power grab. First, they imply that Washington is in control, that unless Washington is in control, water is simply not protected. This is not true. Clean water protection involves our local communities. Private landowners, conservation districts, states, and local communities protect non-federal waters all of the time. Second, the agency claims this rule is designed to protect drinking water. Again, this is an attempt to scare the American people, and it's dishonest. We all want to protect our water resources, and clean drinking water is certainly a priority. I support the Safe Drinking Water Act. For more than 40 years, the Safe Drinking Water Act has encouraged federal-state cooperation in improving safe drinking water. That work has made tremendous progress, which we can all be proud of. This law has been strongly supported by both Republicans and Democrats. It has been reauthorized and extended by Republican-controlled Congresses, and it will continue to improve safe drinking water whether or not this federal power grab continues. This administration says one thing about safe drinking water, and then it does another. For example, in 2013 and 2014, the Obama administration cut funding from the Safe Drinking Water Grant Program. This program, which is a federal-state partnership, does far more to protect safe drinking water than anything in the EPA's new power grab. Third, we hear rhetoric about rivers catching on fire and toxic pollution. Once again, this is an attempt to scare the American people. Major rivers will continue to receive federal and state protection just as they have for decades. Isolated, non-navigable waters will continue to be protected by state and local efforts as they are now. And let's not forget that farmers and landowners care about clean water. As Northeast farmer Joe Christian told the Jonesboro Sun after the EPA finalized its rule, "I am not going to do something detrimental to the land I work and live on. There is no greater environmentalist than a farmer," end quote. For the past year, Arkansas farmers and ranchers have shared with me their concerns of this EPA overreach. I want to share some of the comments that I recently received. Fred in Truman wrote, and I quote, "Like every other person in America, I favor clean water. However, there appears to be a grab for power or control related to water. I fail to see how a low spot in a field or a yard or ditch that I create on my own land should be included. We are being overregulated by Washington. Please continue to limit intrusion into our lives where none is needed," end quote. Rodney in Lonsdale sent me an email saying, and I quote, "The EPA doesn't need to be monitoring my pond and my streams, telling me what to do or how to use them. This is an overreach," end quote. These frustrations are the result of an agency that often abuses its authority, creating unnecessary and costly mandates. And it's not just Arkansans. Across the country, people are sounding the alarm on this power grab. Extreme and unlawful are two words the American Farm Bureau used to describe the rule. An analysis of the finalized rule by the organization determined that the ambiguity of the rule will give the agency, quote, "broad discretion to identify waters and to limit the scope of most of the exclusions," end quote. The good news is we have a bipartisan agreement that this EPA rule is a problem. After EPA finalized this rule, the Wall Street Journal published an editorial calling this move by EPA an amphibious attack and urged Congress to overturn the rule and force, quote, members to show whose side they're on, the average landowners or the Washington Water Police, end quote. That's why I joined the Senate's efforts to protect property owners and keep Washington's hands off of private lands. The Federal Water Quality Protection Act safeguards Americans from this overreach. It sends EPA back to the drawing board to craft a proposal that encourages true cooperation. It will keep the hands of Washington's politicians out of decisions that have been made in states and local communities for generations. Under this modest bipartisan legislation, the EPA will be able to protect federal waters without expanding its power. I appreciate Senator Brasso, the bill's author, for his continued leadership in holding EPA accountable. Last week, my colleagues and I, who serve on the Environment and Public Works Committee, moved this legislation forward. This is a step in the right direction to protecting the rights of landowners while protecting our nation's waters. I look forward to supporting this common sense legislation on the Senate floor and encouraging my colleagues to do the same. Congress must build on the progress that we've made toward better water quality. And we can do this best by protecting the role of states, local communities, and private citizens to be a part of the process.